Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you will be fine and in the high state of iman and health. And myself, motivational speaker, leadership business coach, master trainer, language trainer, vlogger, novelist, Prof MA Raza. And today I'm gonna share you a particular topic and lecture about today we are going to discuss Thomas Hardy as a novelist. What are the main important factors and what are the main important features about Thomas Hardy? So first of all, we are going to discuss introduction. The novel, The novel aims at presenting to us developed characters. If we read the masters of fiction, we can safely conclude that their works give us chiefly certain characters which we can never forget. One who reads Hardy will ever carry in his memory the great characters like Henchard, Tess, and Eustacia. The characters of Fielding, Walter Scott, Charles Dickens, William Thackeray, Thomas Hardy have been immortal. Pardon me. Every reader of English literature remembers them forever. Thus, the most important part of the novel is character drawing on comparing the novel with the drama. We find that the art of drama aims at providing us with action which purges us of our baser feelings with intense emotions. The art of the novel is a bit different from that of the drama. The novel is a kind of compromise between epic and drama. Epic, the important, very important lines. Epic and drama. That is a comparison or compromising of epic and drama, or between. We can also say that is a scale between epic and drama. By tending towards the dramatic in its closer unity and exclusion of the episode, it is intended not for vivid stabbing representation on the stage, but for the thoughtful serenity of the fight sides. Its purpose is not to bring about sudden earthquake upheavings of the moral nature, but rather to inspire processes of grave reflections, meditative, not purgative, less divine but more human. I'm going to repeat the line again only for you, and that's but rather to inspire processes of grave reflection, meditative and not purgative, less divine but more human. Thus, the novel differs from the drama. It is more reflective. It gives us the complete picture of man. It leaves us thinking about the problem of life. This aim of the novelist is fulfilled through placing before the readers certain outstanding specimens of humanity. These characters are shown to pass through various phases. Just as in Tess, the Urban Villas, the novelist has shown us 7 phases of the development of Tess. The first is the maiden phase, when Tess is quite pure, innocent, living in the domestic world. The second phase is maiden no more. This phase shown striking change in the personality of Tess. She has been seduced by Alec, which has created a gulf in her character. The third phase is the relay or relay. Here, the industrious and emotional qualities of Tess have been vividly brought out by the novelist. She has been shown as the hardest worker in the Talbot Hayes dairy. Talbot Hayes dairy, that is also a part between, if we want to say that. That is a part of the novel. The fourth phase, and I want to say at that time, that is the evidence from the novel. That was the correct thing that I want to share, or that is the correct point. So the fourth phase is the consequences. Here the novelist shows us the marriage of Tess with Angel Clare, which against puts into broad relief some of the hidden qualities of Tess. The fifth phase is the woman phase. Here, the novelist brings about quite clearly the constructive qualities of Tess. Here we have the sleep walking scene, wherein Tess plays the notably part of saving the life of Angel Clare. Her senses of loyalty and chastity has been very nicely depicted in the phase. The sixth phase is the conversion. Here again, the touchlight is turned on Tess. Angel Clare's realization of his past mistakes has been very vividly described. The frustration of Tess again, uh, again throws light on the character and motives of Tess. The last phase is fulfillment. Here Tess murders Alec and is reunited with Angel Clare only to die on the gallows after a short time. That is the destiny of Tess. The novelist has been successful in probing into the emotional instructive forces working in Tess. Hence, we can say the novelist places before us typical or significant specimen of humanity passing through turbulent or otherwise revealing phases of life, and exhibits the swirl and surges of their souls. Number one, characterization. That is another part we are going to discuss. Hardy as a novelist. Then what will be the characterization of Thomas Hardy? And now we are going to discuss it in parameter of Thomas Hardy as a novelist. The first quality of Thomas Hardy, a novelist, is his wonderful gift of developing characters in his novel. No critic has doubted the greatness of Hardy in the respect the reader of Hardy can never forget the long list of great characters which ever remain fresh in his memory. We have Jude Foley, Gabriel Ock, Angel Clare, Michael Henchard, Clem Ubright, Giles Winterbourne, who are some of the chief male characters. They make deep impress on the minds of the reader. They have their own whims, impulses, and philosophies among the male characters. We have unforgettable secondary characters such as Boldwood, Fry, and then Philoston, Troy, Alec, D'Urberville, and Jacqueline Pustin. They are the finest examples of human weaknesses and virtues. Then we have, that is in context of characterization, might be clear it in your minds. Then we have female characters, Tess, Sue, and then Bath, Heba, Elizabeth, Jane, Grace, and Marty. Hardy has shown wonderful grasp of womanly nature. The above names are really a symphony. In this presentation. In this presentation of these characters, Hardy delves into human natures. He places the crystals of human souls in his crucible and in his crucibles and subject them to the awful test of a white enduring heat. We can pick up tests and analysis the method of Hardy in the creation of character. He has seen agony and innocence in the heart of Tess. From beginning to the end, Hardy has wonderfully entered into the hidden parts of Tess' heart. We find the same Shakespearean tragic treatment in Tess. Tess not only dies, but her soul is clearly ruined. This stark tragedy is similar to some of the great tragedies of Shakespeare's, like Lear, Macbeth, and Hamlet. We are going to similarize Shakespeare particular characters like King Lear, Macbeth, and the Hamlet in the same way in the context of characterization of Thomas Hardy. Mind it and remind it in your with your opening ears. Now with all your ears, sorry. And now not in the rest. Opening ears was translated translation of Urdu particular, and with all ears, that is a particular phrasal verb. Or idiomatic expression. Rest of Elizabethan drama, not in the rest of English literature, till you find another soul's tragedy, until you reach Hardy. And this supreme feature of Shakespeare's tragedy is born again in the novel of pure modern thoughts or modern era. Considered from this point of view, Tess is the greatest creation of Hardy. Here he has shown the desertion, the struggle for bread, struggle for bread, and the terrible death of Tess. She is crushed by the weight of circumstances. Hence, Tess is the finest character ever written by Hardy. So that is the important glimpse of Hardy, that we have going to similarize Shakespearean's important characters along with Hardy's characters. Now I'm going to give you the other glimpse or other point of view. One of the qualities of character drawing is the grasp of soul's tragedy. In all his great novels, in the sad antagonism of Angel, Claire, and Tess, in the stage half comprehended comradeship of Jude and Sue, and their despairs in the grim struggles and ups and downs of the mayor of Casterbridge in the southern splendor of the love of Eustacia in the glooms of Bloodwood, and the magnanimity of Gabriel Oak. In all these, we are concerned with less transcendent, fussy, and mundane emotion, more spontaneous, illogical, almighty than reason. Through characters, Hardy has presented to us the conflict between the spirit and the flesh. He has shown us the pervading agony of life through his character. The contemporary critics pointed out that all characters of Hardy are common people, villagers, rustics, peasants, and laborer. But he was not the only novelist who did this. Even before him, we have Tom Jones, whose characters are purely plebeian. No doubt, the predecessors of Thomas Hardy, or predecessor of Hardy, had followed the Aristotelian law in character creation. The hero must be a man of high rank. But all tragic heroes of Hardy are common people. Tess, that's an important line, please underline it. And that all Hardy's, but all tragic heroes of Hardy are common people. Tess is a milkmaid and a daughter of a haggler. Jude Chawley is a stone mason, oak is a shepherd, and Sue is a primary school teacher. Henchard Henchard is a uh, trimming hairdresser. The five the greatest Hardian heroes are selected from the lowest position in life. There is no romantic glow around them. They do not shine because of their stations or high descent. The milkmaid and the shepherd of dainty China kind are not unknown to poetry. Even the stone mason has a point of contact with literature, but few before dared to credit the school teacher or the hairdresser with the possession of a soul, much less dreamed of going to the trouble of dissecting it and showing its grandeur and beauty. The real greatness of Thomas Hardy is that the selects characters from ordinary walks of life and makes them so impressive. They become more universal out of prosaic incidents of life. He is able to wave. He is able to weave poetic pattern of life which is so appealing to the reader's. Life is as interesting among ordinary people as it is in palaces and luxurious drawing rooms. Thomas Hardy has disapproved that Hamlet's feeling are not present among common people. By presenting common people, Thomas Hardy has really responded to the spirit of democracy. It is this type of dim, unapprehended personality that Hardy, for the first time in literature, had definitely taken up and made his own. In a sense, it is Hardy's special contribution to the spirit of the age democracy. Many critics and writers, including R.L. Stevenson, Stevenson, were of the opinion that characters must come from ordinary life in all characters of Hardy. We have some special aspects which attracts our notice by its simple beauty. One can point to Tess with the nature refinement, Oak with the nature dignity, Henchard with its nature grandeur. These characters springs from the very soil of Wessex. We have a new presentation of many were nature from the background, the method of character drawing followed by Hardy is set and his own. This is exemplified by Hanchard and Tess in the creation of character, his eyes, and always on the formation of human personality. For example, in Hanchard, he studies the growth of his mind and heart. The essential substance of a man is manifested to the main current of his career. But in addition to this, there are a host of incidental roaches of portraiture, vivid descriptive phrases, metaphor, illuminations, and revealing comparisons, chance utterances of man himself that are Hardy's means of building up a personality of extraordinary consistency, probability, warmth. Sorry, that's a composing mistake. Warmth and reality. We find all these qualities in the character of Tess. The various phases of the career of Tess gives us an idea how she has developed from a sensitive girl into a perfect, passionate woman. He has used other ways to throw light on the characters of Tess. There are vivid descriptions as an artist. The various colors and counters of characters are described in detail by Hardy. Through metaphors and similes, all his qualities have been sought to be brought out. There is a certain touch of realism in the presentation of tests. We often find the sun and the moon shedding their lights on the innermost feelings of tests. Thomas Hardy is a student of the effects of times and circumstances upon the human form. Tests importance of age, heredity, and environment are never forgotten. He reminds the readers of the basic instincts that works through man in spite of himself. But the social customs, traditions are to a great extent responsible in molding human personalities. All through the novel Test of the Urban Willies, we have the consciousness that the novelist is trying to drive home the lesson that heredity and environment are both very strong factors in the constitution of human characters. Realistic touch in the characterization, that is very important part of this important impacts or the effects of Thomas Hardy's as a novelist. Realistic touch in is characterization. If we justify it in a simple way, that the real or true accidents, or the true period of time era that he has utilized in his novels as a novelist. So that is the main topic, and we are going to discuss the character of Hardy are true to life. He has not painted the idealistic aspects of life through his characters. We find both virtues and vices. Viewing the pattern of life, the members of the Hardy's world, in short, presents such compounds of evil with good as their prototypes on the wider stage of Earth. There is, however, even a broader ground of judgment. It is not sufficient that his characters should be human. They must also be what is called universals. All characters that are not unreal, impossible, are either realist, typical, or universal. Either realist, typical, or universal. That was a bit printing mistake. That's the word, or some important words are missing. The designer of realistic figures works from put keen but superficial observations of men. He has an eye like a camera and produces vivid photographs. He presented only an outside views of his creations, and his art needs no plumbing of human natures. We find many characters of Hardy conforming to the pattern so clearly analyzed by the critic here. In the rustic drawn by Hardy, also realistically drawn, there is imaginative or romantic coloring. They have been idealized by the novelist. Hardy becomes poetic when he describes laborers, plebeians, or villagers. Hardy shows marvelous power in describes the typical. The types are multiple, distinct, and exclusive. Typical characters cannot show us the depth of human nature. Hardy's characters are not types, but most of the characters of Hardy's novels are neither types nor not sorry nor that's also a composing mistake here, written not, but that is not nor mere individuals, but universals. Each comprehend with their they have their varied casing of the colored glass of individuality, but the light at the center is white. To call Hardy a fearless realist is to misunderstand him, to abuse the term. In the matter of incident, he is certainly neither romantist nor prude, but in characters his eye and hand are those of he idealist, the idealist who rises above the accidents and distinctions of external show and looks deep down into human nature itself. Before going to the next point, we have got a main touch of that. All his characters are the real phenomena, the real impact of the society, or the real characters of the society. That's a particular line about it. The third important point, and I'm going to share it with you, the importance of plot seen in his novel. Another quality of Hardy as a novelist is his supreme mastery in plot constructions. In the history of English novel, we have a very strong tradition of a plot in a novel. The idea is that a novel must have a moral idea running throughout the story. Even characterization becomes secondary. A novel must have a plot. There must be central unity and purpose in the action. It must be possible to discern a line or lines of progress towards consummation of some sort in all great dramas and in most great novels. The action is the logical outcomes of the central characters, but even when character is most tyrannical in its control, the plot is also expression of idea. I'm going to repeat the particular line, and that's a very heart-touching line. That when character, welcome back. Sorry for DC. I'm going to repeat the line again. But even when characters is most tyrannical in its control, the plot is also in expression of idea. In expression of idea. His characters are more impressive than his stories. It seems that his heart lies in the creation of fully developed characters. Even then, we find that there is no plotlessness in his novels. He is the followers of the old traditions. There is the superb blending of the idea with the characters. For example, the idea in Tess is the discussion of the character. For example, the idea in Tess is the discussion of the central question: is Tess a pure woman? Is Tess a pure woman? That's a question mark. Hardy seems to give the reply that the basic instinct of Tess are hardy works, chastity, innocence, vitality, and so on. The circumstances are responsible for the degradation. Destiny is responsible for their doom. No doubt, the idea behind the novel Tess is more. Tess is moral. The work of Tess is moral. The work of art should give us. The work of art should give us not only delight, but it should also give us aesthetic or imaginative pleasure in spite of the charge of obscurity. We find a strong moral fiber in the novels of Hardy. It's quite correct to say Hardy is among those who have given us work of art wherein, having grasped the central idea of each, we find it to be not only a thing of beauty but a grand moral lesson. But he is not so didactic. He is so didactic and as to destroy his artistic sensibilities. Really, according to Shaw, he is an artist. He is an artist philosopher. He is first an artist, then a novelist. He is first an artist, then a novelist. You also underline it. We have in his novels the consciousness of beauty, colors, poetry, and form then comes his philosophy or the idea. In Tess, we have simple triangular love. Here, Tess is loved by two rebels, Angel Clare and Alec, in far from the madding crowd. Oak and Boldwood loves but Bathsheba loves Troy, but Troy loves Fanning. In the trumpet major, Anne loves Job, Bob Festus, and Bob loves Mabalda. Same as thus almost all the novels of Hardy have love stories that they can represented through rhombus. Throughout these novels, the same pattern of love has been followed. This is the simple law of Hardy's plot. The action proceeding in direct lines. There are no digressions or subplots or excess of characters. In adopting this method of the broad simple outline, Hardy departed from the practice of his immediate predecessor. He is not like Charles Dickens or William Thackeray, whose novels have a very big population or very big quantity of characters, a large quantity of characters. He established not by Thomas Hardy but by Charles Dickens and William Thackeray. Traditions of simplicity of plot and few characters. We can observe this simplicity in tests of the urban village. Now, the next important factor, before going to this, I'm going to conclude it, and we have to make this lecture into two parts because it's going too large, and today I'm going to shift it on these important lines or the exclusive lines of this point, and the point was the importance of plot, scene, and event in his novels. The second, the plots are realistic. They represents life as it is. There is no exaggeration there. They observe the principle willing suspensions of disbelief in tests of the urban beliefs, who cleverly the novelist has divided the novel into 7 phases. The first phase describes Tess when she is maiden. The clear image of Tess has been reflected here. The second phase is maiden no more. Here we are repeating all the phases, and I'm going to conclude all. Thus, we find that the plots of Hardy are simple. A single idea governs them throughout. The remaining 4 points we will discuss it in our next lecture, because I'm feeling that it's too enough, that the length of this lecture is going too large. The 4th point, Hardy's use of the marvelous. 5th point is place in English literature. 6th point is pattern. 7th point is realism, and 8th point is art. 9th point is temperament, and 10th point is superiority or is superiority as a superior personality. We will discuss it at the end, and it might be this lecture goes on 3 parts, because we have described 3 parts in this particular lecture, and the remaining 3 parts, and because more than 8 or 9 10 it means there are still 6 important points are remaining to describe fully Hardy as a novelist. So we will I'll try my best to give you in a single lecture. If it will be not possible for myself, then we will convert the remaining part of the remaining parts or the remaining points into 2 more lectures, and we will call it series of Trinity, or series of the lecture against the idea Thomas Hardy as a novelist. So now I'm going to conclude it here right now, that we have discussed 4 point of Thomas Hardy as a novelist, and we have discussed the point we have discussed fully the major point, the starting point, as if I'm not wrong, the main point as the introduction, and then characterization, and then we have discussed particularly realistic touch in his characterization, and then the importance of plot, scene, and events in his novel. So, uh, including introduction, we have got 4 points. So, let me go now. Before going, I request to you that if you are a student of BS Urdu, you can also follow and subscribe Murshid Urdu Professor MA Raza for all Urdu lectures, and also subscribe and hit the bell icon to this channel, Mentor English. And let me go now and say with me, do something more for humanity, do something more for knowledge and practices. Have a good day.